Okay, I have to confess. I know I did that poll about what bending art you guys would prefer, and I know it was kind of obvious that I was telling you guys I was working on this video, but I never did watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. I did know about it, at least, and I knew enough to comfortably say I would have preferred earthbending, actually. And it's not because of this game. I actually thought about this when I was in middle school. I didn't think much about it afterwards for years, but when I saw Happy147, an absolute hilarious YouTuber who's far better at making videos and way funnier than I could ever dream of, being the absolute smooth brain that he is in a game called Rumble, I was definitely hooked. I looked more into the game and thought, maybe this could be fun. I mean, come on. A game where you're basically just an earthbender engaging in gladiatorial arena combat against a similarly skilled opponent, throwing rocks at each other? And it's in VR? I tell you, I was hooked. This seemed like a perfect idea. Sign me the up! But after playing it for a few weeks, I found every single opponent I faced to be challenging, engaging, and downright unforgettable. Everyone you see who is past a yellow belt and up are some of the most humble and engaging opponents you could ever face against. No matter if they're spilling the beans about how they fight.
No, I've only been playing a week, but I already have like 2 days worth of hours, like 48 hours.
Jeez, I'm playing for
I know.
maybe a week at most?
I think the first 3 days I learned the basics, and I've been going from there.
Interesting. Or they just totally stay quiet because of maybe social anxiety or something? I don't know. Well, then again, if that were true, that would make two of us. My journey began like many before me. I had a checklist of things to do, get comfortable with the game's controls, and then face Howard, the training robot, if I was ready. Coming back to the game after so long, I definitely felt like a white belt again. It had been months since I returned, but I remembered the hours of learning new moves, training the same moves over and over again, and the people I fought against. I remembered why I love this game so much. I put forth a day of training to help warm myself back up. I am a black belt, truth be told, so I didn't want to be rusty going into my first match back. After a few more hours of training, I was ready. I pulled the lever and let the matchmaking machine do its magic. All I had to do was wait. So I waited. And waited. And waited. I really wish I could say there aren't really many serious problems with the game, basically at all, but there is one glaring issue, at least in my experience. It's not the controls, despite me not being able to hop a structure, a simple move that launches a structure by just straighting and immediately kicking, thus making it kind of hop off the ground. For the life of me, I still can't get it to work, but others have no problem with pulling it off. Admittedly, I have swallowed my pride and accepted this to just be a skill issue. The controls do work flawlessly in-game, and I can attest to that, so if you or someone else says the game is at fault, it's not, actually. You just need to practice positioning and poses and just repetition. After 1,000 times, you can get it like secondhand, like breathing, if you will. And it's also not the community, not even close. The devs at Buckethead Entertainment work tirelessly to bring more content into the game and fix any issues and squash whatever bugs seem to crop up. Hell, I even remember what the old shift stones were like before they changed them. And it was game-changing. It went totally off the rails into something else entirely. And the people you face against or you meet in the park, and especially in the Discord server too, are some of the most humble and patient people you could find in the world. And the reason is because they understand the time, sweat, and tears needed to be put in to get good. And I can most certainly vouch for that as well. The biggest problem with Rumble, in my experience, is just how many matches you'll get into. At least in my experience, you really won't see anyone on, at least in the US West region. There's thousands of people who've stuck with this game for over a year, myself included, but it's still somewhat difficult for me to get a match. But once I finally did get in, I got my ass kicked. Like I said, I'm a black belt, and I have trained vigorously on several different moves, and even some advanced moves, but my skill level is nowhere close to what an actual black belt is like. I think I'd be more so fit in my skill set as a green belt. Blue belt is about my ceiling, but I think I'm about where a green belt should probably be with how good I truly am. But the fun part of Rumble is fighting anyone. Facing anyone in this game is always unforgettable, and my journey to becoming black belt is no different. Fighting against a black belt as one yourself does give you the freedom to do whatever you're capable of. Any sort of move, any sort of way, any sort of tactic is totally viable, and you just get to do whatever you wish. At least in my experience. Facing a white belt, the starting belt color, where you have only 3 moves to work with, that being straight and 2 structures of disc and pillar. While you're a black belt yourself, with all of the different moves, the time, the training, the experience, is one of the most sweltering and engaging fights you could have. I mean, it's daunting to see a black belt as your opponent, even if you're a red belt, just a rank below. But to see a black belt as your opponent when you're a white belt, the starting class, like if you're a white belt starting out like this guy was, that must be terrifying. It's like starting out in an RPG game where you learn the basics of the game, you kind of get comfortable with the controls and the mechanics, how everything works, how the fighting works and whatnot, and then you have your final test with your mentor you met like 5 minutes ago to see if you're in tune with how everything functions, and, to play the rest of the game. And then the final boss just shows up out of nowhere, busts down the walls, and you have no choice but to fight him. But when I'm kind of that final boss for a white belt, I don't want them to be uncomfortable. I don't want them to be overwhelmed. I mean, they're just starting out, and this guy most certainly was too. And I wanted him to keep playing this absolute incredible game. So, what can I do to keep him interested, keep him wanting more? I mean, I'm the one with the most experience. I have all the moves. I'm superior to them in every way. I'm at the peak of skill for this game. I am the master, and they, the student. At least in their eyes. I'm sure some people who are black belts in Rumble do have the answer of what they would do if put in my position, and I personally would like to hear it. I mean, if you're a black belt, or even a blue belt or lower, and you're met with a fresh out white belt, what would you do? I'm seriously curious. What would you do, in fact? Me personally, I use the same moves they have access to make it an even battleground. There isn't really much that they really can do, sure, and I mean, this guy was even struggling to throw discs properly, but I didn't want to seem like the final boss. I wanted to be the mentor, the master teaching their disciple. So I worked with them, kind of. While we kept fighting, I worked with him and taught him how to actually spawn discs, and even launch pillars too. For those who are getting started, there's a couple of moves you probably should practice, especially if you're a white belt. You should practice at least these 2 special moves. One is to just spawn a pillar under another pillar. This is called a launch, or launching structures. Many people use other structures to launch a certain structure high into the air. By using straight on said structure before it, leaves, you can actually send said structure toward another opponent and get past their cover. I recommend practicing this with at least pillars and other structures, since that's the only way you can unground a pillar and actually make them move pretty far. But at the very least, you can get comfortable with launching structures as well, which is kind of useful. It might just come in handy one day. The second is by far way more important, the bullet disc. So spawning a disc is something that every white belt usually has a problem with in terms of just making it happen. Of course, you need to be in tune and understand how exactly everything is supposed to work, how your rotation is supposed to be. It's pretty simple, and there's several different guides out there, but get comfortable with spawning discs. And when you finally get to that point, you'll realize that spawning a disc does fire it in whatever direction you're looking, and it's almost immediately, but at the same time, it's kind of slow. Hell, you can dodge it or just block it entirely very easily. It's kind of surprising sometimes, but you can easily just dodge it like no problem at all. But there is a way of making it go faster. By going from spawning the disc into a straight, you can actually strike the disc at the exact moment that it's picking up its initial speed, and you make it go, I think, twice as fast. Seriously, it is way, way faster. It's almost impossible to counter with just how fast it's going. And that's what really makes it, I think everyone, including myself, number one of recommended moves to learn as soon as possible. If you are a white belt, master the bullet disc. You'll even use it into black belt fights. It is vital. In this match I had, it was going to be way too difficult to teach him the bullet disc, mostly because he was muted and I followed suit and just stayed quiet. But the fact that he was at least learning and was firing discs consistently made me so happy and proud of him. During our matches, he even actually got a W by loss of health. Sure, it wasn't much, but I think that little win definitely filled us both with pride. For him, he was able to beat a black belt, even though I wasn't exactly taking him too seriously, but I was still properly fighting him. But it still filled me with pride in knowing that he learned and realized how to actually fight more proper. He learned from fighting me, like a mentor should to a student. And this is why I love Rumble. The controls are so well tuned and incredibly immersive. The gameplay is engaging and adrenaline rushing, and the community is so kind and humble and patient. Every time I boot up Rumble, I always know I'll have an unforgettable time. I do wish I could recommend this game to my friends and others, but it's a VR title and kind of cardio intense of a game. But I still would recommend it anyways. I mean, I love this game, and come on, who doesn't want to be an Earthbender in VR? Thank you guys so very much for watching this video. The fact that there are some people out there that are still watching my content and watching my videos is something I cannot thank you enough for. I really did not expect any of this to go well, but the fact that it is in fact going well and people really are enjoying what I make is honestly great. I love making these videos. I love writing scripts. I like just doing random videos in general. I honestly have just been absolutely enjoying everything that's going on. It truly is something I cannot thank you enough for. I really do enjoy doing this stuff. It is so fun for me to do, and I hope possibly maybe you, if you're a new viewer, may just stick around. If you don't, that's fine, of course. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you do, I really do appreciate it. I know it's usually corny for any sort of YouTuber and end up, thinking their audience and everything, but it really does mean a lot to a lot of people. Even myself as well. And especially for me, as tiny as I am, it really is a massive thing. Anyways, usual YouTube spiel. If at all you enjoyed this video, by all means do like it. I honestly really appreciate it when anyone says that they enjoyed it. And especially in the comments, if you have anything to say, anything useful or vital or just plain funny, whatever it is, go and put it down in the comments below and, talk with maybe other very astute people and, astute people here on the internet. I just appreciate reading some of your guys' comments and just learning something or just finding out you guys enjoyed the video. And if at all you have enjoyed this, go and check out some of the other things I got going on. I have my main series going on, of course. I actually will be posting another video here in a little bit. It might take a few weeks, but we're going to be posting the double action revolvers for the H3 VR firearms tier list. And with Thanksgiving now done, we are coming close to the end of 2023, which does mean I'm going to have to do an update on all of the tier lists we've done and update the new tier lists that we haven't done. So I am not just going to run out and be done with it entirely. I'm going to keep this going because I enjoy it, my friends enjoy it, and we're going to keep it going no matter what. So if at all you want to see any of those, by all means, check out the intro video for the firearms tier list for H3, and check out some of the other ones I have. I got Into the Radius Scavenger. I really need to finish as well. I need to get that one done too. And I'm kind of thinking of what to do with that. I'll release another one later on for anyone that's curious. And, of course, I have a couple others. I recently made the Blade Sorcery video. I have more videos I want to do later, and if you want to check any of those out that I have now, you absolutely can. It'd be nice if you did. And if at all you have any sort of interest in keeping up with me, do subscribe to the channel. We are at, as of now, 72, 73 subscribers at this point, which is a number I was not expecting at all. I wasn't even expecting that many people to even be subscribed to the channel, but the fact that it's there just, it baffles me, and I'm so happy that people are enjoying it and want to stick around for it. And hopefully you do too. Of course, everything I just said is entirely optional, though I appreciate it. You simply just being here at the end of the video, hearing me ramble, is far more than even I could ask for. Simple as it may be, it's true. I never would have expected you to be this far into it, and I thank you for that. But like I said, all these are optional. One thing I do want from you is to stay safe out there. The world is a scary and dangerous place. So, stay safe out there.